you're correct. Being a physician is the only career that will give you that knowledge to treat people in that way. Welcome to the OldPreMeds podcast. My name is Dr. Ryan Gray, your host here every week, where I get to take questions directly from the non-traditional premed form over at premedforms.com. OldPreMeds is brought to you by Mapped, my new technology platform that I co-founded with Rachel Grubbs, someone who's been in the test prep world for almost 20 years. And she has a ton of experience working with pre-med students, pre-health students, as well as all of my experience. And we've even hired, our first hire is Dr. Scott Wright, the former director of admissions at UT Southwestern Medical School, a former executive director of TMD SAS. He brings in a ton of advice. Now, Mapped is not just a fancy spreadsheet or tracking sheet. Mapped is a platform that will allow us to guide you on your path to medical school. You put in your grades, we'll give you your trends, we'll give you feedback on how your trends are, where potentially you may be lacking, if you should be looking into a post-bac program or a master's program or taking more classes, and so much more. I'm so excited that Mapped is going to be out in the fall of 2020 as we're recording this. We're maybe a month or so away, fingers crossed, no guarantees. Go to mapped.com as this episode comes out beginning-ish of July. The Mapped is still available for pre-order at our pre-order pricing. Again, mapped.com. That's mappd.com. All right, our question today is about bad attitudes. Our poster says, I'm a 27-year-old female who has been out of college for a few years and has been considering med school. I keep trying to talk to as many doctors as I can, and so many discourage me. You're older. Med school is hard. Med school is a lot of money. You should consider PA school or optometry or nursing, etc. A big driver for me to go to medical school is to work with those with substance use disorders. I grew up in a household with a parent who abused drugs, and I've done a lot of recovery work. I volunteer with an advocacy group, and I volunteer as a doula, and hopefully will get a crisis text line position. I know I need more clinical experience, but right now a goal of mine would be to help prevent, treat, and advocate for those with substance use disorder. And I think getting a medical degree would be the best option to give me the expert level knowledge to do so. I feel like it is my civic duty to help those with addiction. However, I keep running into people who tell me not to do it. And am I just talking to people with bad attitudes? The discouragement is upsetting. To be honest, I understand that medical school is hard and a lot of money. But what else would I do with my time that would be worth it? Good question. I don't think spending the money to go back to school to pursue a career I'm half interested would be a good idea. I've talked to doctors who have mentioned mental health issues and competition as reasons to avoid medicine. I've overcome my own mental health issues, and I feel like I've gotten to a place where I have the tools to keep myself healthy. Just because I struggled with something in the past doesn't mean I'm going to in the future. I grew up in a terribly traumatizing environment that I had zero control over. I just don't see how going to med school can be worse than that. If I really hate it, I can drop out. Yes, there are major consequences, but I'm no longer a powerless child. In my heart, I feel like going to med school is the right decision for me. But the discouragement is making me second guess myself. Do they have a point, or should I just ignore? This is a very easy answer. You ignore. There are going to be people at every step of your journey, every point in your life, that are going to discourage you from doing things that you want to do, especially if that steps out of line for the norm for the people around you and giving you that advice. Now, you're asking physicians what they think. Now, here's a few different takes. Number one, you're older, and so they may go, oh, it's not worth it for you. Number two, you're a woman, and they may go, oh, just do this other thing. You don't need to be, right? It depends on who you're asking. You're asking male physicians? Are you asking female physicians? There's a big difference. A lot of negativity actually comes from female physicians. At the end of the day, if you want to be a physician, then go to medical school. There are obviously plenty of people who still want to go to medical school with 50,000+ students applying and getting in every year. Not getting in, but applying. I wish that many were getting in, but applying every year. There are a lot of people applying to medical school and a lot of people going to medical school every year. Why not you? You answered your own question. I smiled a few times as I was reading it. You answered the question yourself. You said, am I just talking to people with bad attitudes? Yep, you are. If you listen to Specialty Stories, my podcast that I do, where I interview physicians about their specialty, almost all of them say they would do this again. They love their job. Just like any career, you are going to find people who are burnt out and miserable, and you're going to find people who love their career and what they're doing. Now, obviously, right now, we're going through a hard time. A lot of physicians are being furloughed. A lot of physicians are having their pay cut. Being a physician, and this is why I talk about it all the time, don't be a physician because it's a quote-unquote stable job. This pandemic has proved that it's not. A lot of hospitals have lost a lot of money because we had to shut down elective surgeries and much more. Physicians were furloughed. Physicians have had their pay cut. And so they're stressed and they're worried. Healthcare's been changing a lot, and it will always change a lot until we can figure things out in this country with our healthcare system. We don't have a great healthcare system. It's stressful. We have ridiculous requirements for Medicare, for the electronic medical record systems. We have horrible electronic medical records where physicians are behind the computer all the time, charting all the time. At the end of the day, you have said you want to take care of people with addiction, and you feel that being a physician will give you the tools to do that, the best tools to do that. You said, I think getting a medical degree would be the best option to give me the expert level knowledge to do so. You're correct. Being a physician is the only career that will give you that knowledge to treat people in that way. Sure, being a psychologist is great. Being a social worker is great. You can do a lot of things and help those with addiction, but you wouldn't be a physician, and you'll always second guess yourself if you're not a physician. So yes, ignore those people. Make your own decisions. Choose the path that you want, that is best for you, not what their considerations are. They may not like being a physician because they wanted stability. They wanted a good paycheck and not a lot of work. They may have chosen medicine for the wrong reasons, and you're choosing them for the right reasons. So ignore everyone else. Listen to them and ignore them. Take some pieces, ignore the rest. This is your choice, your decision, your path, your future. You choose what you need to do for you. Now, I do want to touch on the mental health aspect that you talked about. Someone who has gone through, you talked about a terribly traumatizing environment growing up. Hopefully, and it sounds like you have the skills to be resilient, to handle whatever's going to come your way. Nothing will prepare you for medical school. Unfortunately, medical school is hard, but it's not traumatic. It's just stressful and hard. And a lot of times, students will potentially fall back into some mental health issues in medical school because they don't have the tools necessary to support themselves. But if you do, that's amazing. So yes, work on those skills, continue those skills, support yourself, take care of yourself, and go to medical school. We need more people to take care of addiction. We need more people to show that addiction is a disease and not a crime. So we need some policy people as well. That's a whole separate podcast. I hope that was helpful for you. I wish you the best of luck. And if you're on your journey to medical school and you have a similar path, I wish you the best of luck as well. If you have a question you want answered here on the Old Premeds podcast sponsored by Mapped, go to premedforums.com. And if you want to check out Mapped for pre-order right now, go to mapped.com, MAPPD. Our goal is, as we're recording this, as this is coming out on July 8th, our goal is to have the first batch of students in the software for testing in less than a month, and then open it up for everyone a little bit after that. So if you're a pre-order person, by the time we open it up for those students to test and to play around and try to break things and give us feedback, go sign up now, mappd.com for the pre-order pricing. Hope you have a great week. We'll see you next time here on the Old Premeds podcast.